This is the MetalSucks podcast.
Last week, we got to talk to Anzo DF, of course, of MetalSucks, the senior editor of MetalSucks, and he had some really interesting opinions about a little band by the name of BABYMETAL, and we want more clicks, so we figured we put BABYMETAL in the SEO.
We might be getting close to the end of our BABYMETAL obsession. No,
I don't think so.
No?
I think it's just a beginning. I really do.
Oh, interesting.
With all the chatter about BABYMETAL, I think we need to talk to an expert here, and I think that expert is going to have to be Vince Neilstein.
I got to tell you guys, I listened to the podcast last week, and hearing Anso talk about seeing BABYMETAL in Montreal, I'm so jealous. I want to see them so badly. And actually have it on good word that they're going to be coming back to the U.S. Well, that much is known. They announced it on their Facebook page. I have it on good word that they're going to be doing a New York show, and I am so excited. Could not be more excited.
If a band comes to the States, they go to New York, they go to L.A., they go to Chicago, and they go home.
Well, they didn't do a New York show last time, which was the weird thing, and they were here too. They posted a photo on their Facebook page of themselves on the Brooklyn Bridge. This is how much I follow the band. I know what they post on their Facebook, but they didn't do a show here for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe they just couldn't figure it out with the band members or logistics or something or other. But I'm glad that they're finally coming back because I am so into that band. I'm so into the album, everything about it, I think, is awesome.
It seems like people are, in general, excited about BABYMETAL. You're not the only one.
No, and I mean, I think I think a lot of people are excited about it. Metal fans are excited about it because it's something different. But who's really excited about it is dudes in metal bands. And you see all these pictures of, Slayer and Anthrax and Carcass posing with BABYMETAL. And, I think those guys are into it and they're excited. But everyone I've talked to about it, like I was talking to the dudes, Landfill from Iron Reagan and Municipal Waste, and they shared a stage with them at Heavy Montreal. They did a show for us in New York last week, and I was talking to him. And the first thing, of course, I asked was, how are BABYMETAL? And he was like, dude, they were awesome. Like, he was so into it. And I think metal dudes are just so into it because when you're in a metal band, you are around metal all the time. And you love metal, but it gets old, and you just sometimes want something different. And BABYMETAL are different. They offer something that no one has really ever seen before.
So, I mean, is that the key? Is it all about something that's different, or is it? I still have that psychic vampire kind of thing where they're just trying to suck the life out of these young teenagers. They're just worn and metal dudes, and they see youth and they want to pull it in. Is it the youth thing, or do you think it's what BABYMETAL's actually doing?
I think it's all of the above. It's that it's different. It's the youth thing. It's the fact that it's these cute little girls. It's the fact that it's distinctly Japanese, in the music and the appearance and the aesthetic. It's the fact that it's fun. It's kind of like the perfect storm of everything all in one that just comes out of nowhere and appeals to Americans. Is
there a certain amount of political correctness that's keeping anybody, public from saying anything bad about him? Nobody wants to be the old dude.
I don't see why there would be.
Well, nobody wants to be the old dude who says these three Asian teenager girls,
talking shit about them.
Right.
You mean like dudes in bands?
Or anybody for that matter. I mean, it seems like everybody's on their side.
Well, see, the trolls online are anonymous, so they can be as un-PC as they want, right? But if you're Tom Araya, you kind of got to get your picture taken.
Well, and there's not many people that there's not many times in metal where it seems like everybody is sort of on the same side as far as journalism, critics, just everybody. It seems like everybody's kind of on the same side from what I've read. They're excited about this.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that speaks to the uniqueness of it. It's just such a unique thing. I mean, then again, yes, there are a lot of trolls and MetalSucks commenters and whoever who, think it's the worst thing ever, or just like making fun of me for being a pedophile.
Well, there is that. I mean,
there is that. the other thing is, like, there aren't really that many other websites that give negative opinions of something, when they don't like it. Like, a lot of websites just kind of will post whatever, when do you really see that many other websites saying anything super negative about any band?
True. I don't know. I just don't even hear that sort of rumble. You know what I mean? It's a lot of time you can kind of get that sense of, it's Megadeth, but people just are like, whatever.
The enthusiasm in the beginning was so much that I thought that maybe all the money behind BABYMETAL was like slipping Jeff Walker $100.
Jeff Walker doesn't need $100, believe me. Actually, maybe he does, but he's not that rich. I don't know. I mean, it's like you guys were talking about, I think it was the podcast with Misha on it, where when you're in a band, you just know how to be professional in a certain way, and you're not really able to trash talk anybody else in the industry. You just know to keep your mouth shut.
Yeah, I hate that trend.
I'm sure there are bands out there that think it's ridiculous, but you know what? I mean, you're kind of right. Like, everyone really is united behind this thing for now anyway, just because it's such a curiosity.
Well, I think also because the doors are kind of open on it as well. So it's not like these three girls magically appeared and they're metal and this and that. And it's this. We know what it is. We know how it came about, and we know what's going on. The curtain is kind of pulled back on it, and I think that goes a long way to lending some kind of legitimacy to it, because
they're honest about it.
Yeah, they're honest about it.
Yeah, and you know what else? It's good.
Yeah.
Too.
Well, I mean, aside from that, yeah.
But I mean, I think that's kind of being glossed over, because if it sucked, then it would suck, and I mean, people would call bullshit on it right away. But the fact is, the music is good, the musicianship is good, the songwriting is good, the presentation and the show is good. It's like it's people recognize it as being good. It's more than just a novelty or a curiosity.
My favorite thing about what Anzo had said about their performance was what they did on stage and how it influenced other people at the festival.
I love that.
And how important that was and what it means going forward in metal. And I think that's actually the most important thing out of it all, because it means you got to step up your game if you're going to be doing festivals. You got to step it up.
Yeah, you need some choreography.
And I mean, that was just like their bare bones show too.
Yeah.
They, I don't know if you guys have seen, they did a show at Budokan in Tokyo. Yeah. And just the production is just insane. It's like, they're coming out of risers under the stage, and there's lights and like skits, and it's just like it's like a theater production.
Do we know who those musicians are? Do they, the backing band, are they coming from something else? Because they sound like they get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, there's the one guy. I'm not sure if he's in the band. He may be. He goes by the name BABYMETAL, and he's kind of the writer and shepherd, I guess you could say, the creator.
Mm-hmm. The only guy with job security.
Yeah, basically. But the guitarist, his name escapes me right now, is actually the guitarist in Marty Friedman's solo band.
Yeah, I read that in your Rolling Stone piece, by the way. Got good, very good piece, by the way. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So that's a real dude, and I mean, you watch them, you can see these guys can play. They're definitely legit metal musicians.
I don't know what part of me is like still
resisting.
I'm resisting it a little bit, but I don't know why. Like for some reason, there's no.
Well,
I don't know.
Here's my question: is like, I wonder if this could have worked 20 years ago when everybody was financially comfortable. When they were relatively comfortable, right? You could sell albums, you could make some money from touring. Now you can't. So bands look at a band like BABYMETAL, which is like a pure sellout, and go, "Oh man, that door is now open."
Yeah, but see, I think that's already sort of open when we talk about Avenged Sevenfold, or we talk about that door's there. You just have to open the right ones.
Yeah, but the Avenged Sevenfold door sucks.
Well, but I mean, it's all about, recognizing what the trend is and jumping on it. And I think where they win is, like I said, they're open about it. It's like, by the way, we're doing this, and
Right.
it's something different, but it's packaged, it's put together, and it's designed to be this way.
What do you think, Vincent, the influence of BABYMETAL is going to be? Is it going to be the show, or is it going to be
The music.
Well, the music, or is it going to be the business model?
Well, the thing is that BABYMETAL can only get away with what they're doing because they're Japanese. There's like in a certain the Japaneseness is so integral to not only the presentation, visually and aesthetically, the dancing, the dress, all that, but also just the core of what it is. And you can't really replicate. Like if it were a bunch of white 15-year-old girls up there on stage doing that, it just would not work.
True.
There's just no way. Even if it were slightly more Americanized music, it just would not, you'd be like, what the fuck is this crap? It just would not work. To the extent that they could have influence on the scene in large, I don't know. I don't really see it. I think it might just be a kind of an isolated thing. I'm sure there will be some kind of copycats or a fallout effect, but I don't see it really becoming a large trend.
Is Unlocking the Truth looking at this going, oh man, somebody just stole our thunder?
Let's get some dresses.
Yeah, I mean they probably are, and that band actually is a perfect example of what I'm talking about, because is it going to work? I don't know if people are going to buy into it. I think people like the story. It's hard not to, but when it comes down to it, what's the music going to be like? Is it going to work? Is it going to be a great live band? What is it going to be when they're actually a real band and not just three kids from Brooklyn who played on the subway?
They just got to hurry up. They're almost out of high school.
They're like, what? Are they 12, 13?
13, 14. Yeah, like right in there.
But
So-
They're just getting into high school.
Yeah, but it's like taking them almost 2 years to get their album out. It's like, come on, the clock is a ticking. You only get like one shot.
And with BABYMETAL, I mean, in 5 years they can change them out and put 3 new girls up front if they wanted to.
I'm looking at the pictures. Those girls look older already.
They do, I know. I've noticed it too. Like you look at some of the stuff from 2012 even, and they do look noticeably older.
They're going through the change right now.
They're going to have to swap them out.
Yeah, that's exactly. And but that's the thing is
That's
way
okay.
the way that model works is that they could do that and it would be totally acceptable.
It seems Slayer's been influential that way too.
Yeah, like it's kind of like the Guar thing where they'll make up a story.
Yeah, exactly.
For some part of the story that's the theme of the band, something about the fox goddesses coming down, I don't know. I don't really know what the hell they're singing about, but it's something to do with foxes, and they'll figure it out and make it up, and everyone will love it.
So now you were talking about after you spent 2 weeks in Japan, you had sort of a deeper insight into kind of what this was all about. I mean, what did you see as far as, it's very Japanese, but what specifically... What were you talking about there?
Well, a lot of that actually had to do with what I learned from hanging out with Marty Friedman.
Mm-hmm.
Look at me, I'm big shot. I was hanging out with Marty. No, just kidding. I spent like six hours with him or something, half a day. He was talking a lot about why he moved to Japan, specifically what led him there. And for the most part, it was just a fascination with Japanese culture and particularly music. Japanese pop music is very complex. Like it's almost like progressive in a way, even though it sounds like pop. When you really dive into what's going on in the music, it's very, very complicated. And so that kind of inspired me to look at some of the stuff he was talking about, starting with the bands that he's done work with. And you look at some of this stuff, and you just can't believe that it's pop music. It's like a 100-piece symphony with these 5 girls dressed in colorful spacesuits dancing around, and it's a pop song, and you're like, what is this? And it just kind of opened up this world to me of like, wow, there's this whole other universe of pop music, and I kind of understand now where a group like BABYMETAL could come from and how they could be a product of the Japanese pop industry.
Why does Japanese pop need that complication?
I don't know that it needs to be, but and again, this is really kind of secondhand info. I'm by no means an expert, but the impression that I got is that there's just more of a freedom to be able to experiment and do cool stuff, which in American pop there just isn't.
Yeah, it seems like American pop is a little bit more of the basics. You know, they've found the formula that, well, I don't know. I mean, it's the formula that works here versus the formula that works there. It's right. Two different cultures, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you could paint some kind of a thesis statement about how Japan's history in some way has, influenced their modern pop music, but I'm way too tired to come up with an idea like that.
There's got to be some kind of a mathematical PhD somewhere that analyzed all the pop music that has come out on a...
There is totally a PhD about how the, samurai and kamikaze pilots and whatever informed the Japanese psyche, and that in turn has influenced the pop music industry.
We'll pull that
quote. I'm interested to see what happens with Babymetal, and I so want to see them live. I want to experience this thing just to check it out.
Yeah, but from the back of the room, please. Nowhere near a camera.
Oh man, I'm getting right up front. I'm dead serious. Like I'm getting as close as possible. I know some of the Japanese words, and oh man, I'm going to be that guy. It's going to be awesome.
If I can stand at the front of a crowd and scream about Satan, I feel fine standing at the front of a crowd screaming about chocolate. I mean, look at me. I'm totally into it. Yeah, I'm fine with
chocolate is way more metal than Satan.
Indeed.
In 2014, that's probably true.
All right, I think we're going to leave it at that right there,
Thanks,
dude.
Vince.
Dude, thank you, man. Always good to have you on, brother. This has been another episode of the MetalSucks podcast.